all these beautiful family members, loved ones here. It's a day to honor the mothers, and my talk today really is threefold. It's honoring the expression of the mother, first of all and foremost of all, in the physical form of our mothers. But it's also honoring the mother in our Mother Earth. Mother Earth, we had Earth Day right after Easter, so we didn't really have a Sunday for Earth Day. So I want to honor our Earth Mother, and then finally I want to honor the Universal Mother, which is really another name for the source of all that is, the Creator, the Creatress is another word for it. So honoring and celebrating the Mother this morning, I would like to celebrate the mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers that are here, the godmothers, and the ones that are not here. Glenn, I think he may have gone out to blow his nose, but last Mother's Day, Glenn and Pauline and I, Glenn's mom and I, and the girls, we went to the North Forebay, and I don't think it was long after that she left this plane, but such a special, beautiful memory, such a beautiful Sunday, and I feel her here. Can you hear me, Pauline? She always liked the piano, because I was always loud enough, right? But let's take a moment and celebrate the mothers. Can we have all the mothers stand up, perhaps? And let's hold our applause until we get everybody out. Wow, look at all the mothers. Now, how about the grandmothers? Do we have some grandmothers that are also mothers? Beautiful. And now how about great-grandmothers? Oh my goodness, that's amazing. How about great-great? Any great-great? How about godmothers?
I'm a goddess mother.
A goddess mother, thank you. And then how about mother figures? Mother figures. What did you say, Nancy?
Stepmothers.
Stepmothers, thank you. Stepmothers. Now, can we give them some love? Can we give them a big hand? Thank you so much. So when I was visiting my mom last week up in Shasta, I was recognizing that I feel closer to my mother than ever. And that has not always been the case. My mom and I have had our journey, and she has probably been my greatest teacher, and I've probably been her greatest teacher. And we were laughing actually last week when I said, let's celebrate now because I'll be here on Mother's Day. And she says, it's so great that we finally got to this place where we really enjoy each other's company, and we just really can appreciate each other fully. We've gotten through all the rest, and we've gotten to where we can really appreciate each other fully. And I realize how finite our time is. We're all getting older, and so every moment that I have with my mom is really precious to me. I'm so present, and I really make it count. And that's why I'm up in Shasta a lot, because it's really important for me to have that time with her. So, mothers and children, there's something about the relationship that's so utterly unique. It's like no other relationship. We were once one with our mother. Now, who else can we say that about? Nobody. We were one. We were in one body. We were of one body. And so that connection is unique. Our mother was our source of life for a little while. It was our very source of life. And for most of us, she was our first teacher. So our Mother Earth, though, had a part to play in that, right? Mm-hmm. It was our mother and our Mother Earth that together created our body. I mean, think about it. Our Mother Earth provided our mother with water, with the nutrients from the soil. Those nutrients were in the plants that she ate. And the animals that she ate, well, the plants that had the nutrients in them, it all was nourishing our body too. So our mother and our Mother Earth were nourishing us and brought our body into being. And then, of course, the divine Mother, Father, the Holy Spirit then filled us with light, the light of consciousness, to embody this beautiful form. So I want to thank Mother Earth today, too. And I want to thank, thirdly, I want to honor the universal mother, that mysterious force that brought everything into creation. The universal mother, we can think of it as an energy or creative force that loved existence into being. That's what I know about the Divine Mother, is that we are loved into being. And it is the love that sustains us while we're here, isn't it?
Yes.
What sustains us in life? I think I need love more than I need food. I mean, yeah, I need food, but I can't imagine living without love.
Amen.
So it is that mother principle that sustains us and that welcomes us back home when we leave this plane. It is love that welcomes us back home when we leave this plane. It's always the mother. It's always that energy of love. It's my earliest. I'm gonna cry today. I knew this was gonna happen. My heart is so open. I've been just contemplating the mother all week, on these three aspects especially. But my earliest, I'm okay. My earliest memories of my mom are of two things: nature and music. And they are still the two things that make me happiest. My mom, while I was in the womb, she sang and played guitar. And she had the most beautiful voice. She sang every Peter, Paul, and Mary song. That's why when I came in, I knew all the words already. But growing up, even in the crib, and then, in all my young years, my mom was always singing and playing guitar. And they got me a piano when I was 10, and got me piano lessons. And then soon after that, I'd come home from school, and I'd be turning the pages of the songbook, and she'd sit with me, and we'd sing every song.
Wow.
And that's how I learned to sing harmony. Because we'd sing, she had this beautiful soprano voice, and so she always sang the melody, and I'd make up some harmony. So that was a big, 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 important piece of my life. Incredible. And then the other thing was nature. My mom always took us out into the woods. She'd always, me and my big brother, she'd take us to the creek. She had a horse, big American saddlebred. She put me, I think 3 or 4 years old was the first time, she put me in the front of the saddle and just hold me, and we'd go riding, and then got me a horse when I was 10, and I was allowed to just go. We had 33 acres, but I was allowed to go, just get back at dark. And so at 10 years old, I was out in nature. As soon as I got home from school, I'd saddle up Sunset, and I'd be gone. And I'd get back by dark, and that's where I felt God. That's where I felt the goddess. That's where I felt spirit. I didn't have a name for it. I didn't call it anything in particular, but I was one with my horse. My horse loved me. I could just leave his reins, lay out in the meadow. He would never leave me. And that's just the oneness I felt and connectedness with all of nature. The breeze. I felt like the breeze loved me, Like the breeze was loving me. The flowers and the meadows were loving me. All of it was love. And I was one with it. I was connected to it. So I just want to thank my mom for nature and for music and for showing me to appreciate these things and how to commune through music, how to pour your heart into a song, and how to commune with nature, how to go out there and truly feel one with it all. My mom was Blackfoot Indian, part Blackfoot Indian. Her dad was part, I think, almost half Blackfoot Indian, and she really had this innate Native American way about her. She even looks at the part. She's got these really high cheekbones, but she taught me what Chief Seattle taught when he asked us if we would teach the children that the earth is our mother, and that whatever befalls the earth, whatever befalls her, befalls all the sons and daughters of the earth. She taught me that very early. Chief Seattle says, every part of this earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every meadow, every humming insect, all are holy in the memory and experience of my people. Love that quote. So my mother gave me that awareness of the importance of communing with nature. And then it was, I think I was about 15 when I met Michael Singer. I think I've talked to you about him. He wrote The Untethered Soul. And he was my first spiritual teacher. I met him at 15 years old in Gainesville, Florida. And the very first time I went there, and he was giving his service, which I loved. I heard chanting in Sanskrit for the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, I know this. I know this from some past life. This is so familiar. But at the end of the service, he ended the service, which he's to this day ends every single service with an arati, which is a ritual to the Divine Mother. And he had this in the temple there in Florida. It's still there. There's a giant full-size statue of Durga. It's a form of the Divine Mother. And he would always choose one of us. I got to do it many times, where we would light a candle on a tray and just honor the Divine Feminine. And we'd sing. We'd sing this beautiful song. Oh, I can remember the words. Thou art my mother, my father thou art. Thou art my relative, and thou art my only friend. Thou art my wisdom, my wealth thou art. Thou art my all, my mother divine. Isn't that beautiful?
Amen.
Oh, wow, that takes me there. Yeah, he was doing that this morning. Driving here, I was thinking he just finished doing the arati probably. Arati is a Sanskrit word that means complete love. Complete love. So it's like loving the divine with this complete love. It's a spiritual love. Arati. And it's an expression of devotion, the spiritual love for the Mother of the universe that brought all form into being. So I am so grateful that I was exposed to Mother as God so early on. Because, you know, worshiping the Divine Mother has been around for many thousands upon thousands of years. But some religions kind of wrote it out. Some religions kind of extricated it out. And I think we need to put it back in. We need it. We need this Divine Feminine in our culture. It was in ancient Egypt. It was in ancient Greece. It was in Babylonia. It was in early Judaism. It was in Christianity and Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism. Let me read you what the Taoists say. There is something formless yet complete that existed before heaven and earth, without sound, without substance, dependent on nothing, unchanging, all-pervading, unfailing. One may think of it as the mother of all things under heaven. Its true name we do not know. It's beyond name. How can we put God into a gender? I mean, it's silly.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, trying to put the earth into a box or something. You know? It doesn't work. But what I can say, what I know personally, what I know is that it is an immensity of love. It is so much love. It is the mother of love itself. And that we are held in that love. And when we open to that Divine Feminine energy, we feel that love. And our world is so hungry for it. So hungry for it. The native traditions see the Divine Feminine in Mother Earth. The ancient Egyptians saw it in the Tree of Life. Buddhism, it's the Mother of Compassion, Kuan Yin. In Hinduism, it's the Universal Mother. Taoism, Mother of all creation. And in Christianity, it is the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven. Why is the Divine Feminine important? Why is it so important? Can you tell me?
It creates.
And why is it important for us to remember in our culture? I'll tell you why. Andrew Harvey wrote a book in our library. Well, I have it checked out right now, but it's called The Divine Feminine. And he says, if our spirituality is divorced from the Divine Feminine and the qualities of wisdom, compassion, beauty, justice, and harmony, it leaves us with a world out of balance. A world driven by the lust for power, control, domination, and pillaging of the environment. It leaves us out of harmony with the environment and truly threatens our very existence. The energies of the Divine Feminine are not reserved for just women, though. They are so important for the men of this world to imbibe. And I know it's Mother's Day, but I want to thank all the men here, because you would not be sitting here listening to this talk right now if you weren't pretty advanced already in balancing and embracing the divine feminine as well as the divine masculine energies. And I really honor that, because our world needs that. Our world needs more male teachers that can embody that balanced self.
Amen.
Thank you. Now, in Hinduism, there's a lot of different forms of the Divine Mother, and they represent different forces. There's Kali. Kali's usually black, and she wears this necklace of skulls. She's kind of scary, and she's very fierce. She's a fierce aspect. She's kind of a tough love aspect of the Divine Mother. And but this fierceness is actually to slay our ego, to slay our limitations, to slay the darkness, right? To slay the ignorance. It's fierce. I had an experience the other day where Kali just came out of me. I just embodied her. I didn't plan to. I was in a very peaceful mood. I was doing a walking meditation at this beautiful wetlands area in Mount Shasta on this narrow little boardwalk that's, barely wide enough for a person to walk by. You have to carefully pass. I'm doing my walking meditation, looking at the mountain, and just so peaceful. And I hear these teenage boys yelling and giggling way in the back, and I look back and they're off on a sidewalk over there. So I'm back to my meditation, and a minute later, this teenage boy goes flying by me on his skateboard, and he bumps me, and he nearly knocks me off the sidewalk. And I said, "That is so not okay." And I just turned into this fierce goddess. And they just all stopped. And they looked at me like, "Oh my goodness." I mean, they were scared, And the one boy was standing in front of me, and the other four were behind me, and I just was like in the way, like they were not passing. And then I said, there is a way to pass somebody. There's a proper way to pass somebody. You stop, you get off your skateboard, you put it under your arm, you say, "Passing on the left," politely, they hear you, and then you walk by. Yep. And these two women were sitting on a bench nearby, and they were just looking at me. They knew me. Like, wow. Sort of smiling, and I said, "Somebody has to teach them manners."
Amen.
And they're like, yeah. So the boys behind me very carefully got off their skateboards. They walked by me. One of them said, "I'm very sorry." And I said, "Thank you. I see that you have good manners." And so that was the Kali. That was the Kali energy. And, I was back to peace within a minute or two. And I was kind of like observing myself going, wow, that just came right out like that. But, sometimes that's what's needed.
Amen.
It just is. If you've got like a little, I heard the example one time that you're trying to get the cows in from the field. If you just go in and you just go, nice cow, go in, come on, go in. Go into your farm. No, you take a switch sometimes and get in there, come on. And you have to bring forth that stronger, tougher Kali mom, right?
Kali mom.
So,
Kali mom.
Durga is different. She's another aspect of the divine. She's quite different. She's more the protectress. She's much more patient. She rides a tiger, and she's got these forearms, and they all have weapons, but they're weapons for enlightenment. It's really beautiful to read what those weapons are for, because they're meditation and they're mantra, and they're really how you attain enlightenment. And Durga really wants everyone to turn to the light. That is her whole purpose for being. She's very patient with humanity. Now in Christianity we have Mother Mary, we have Queen of Heaven, and she is the mother of the Christ, the mother of the Christ. She is all heart, she is all love, she is tender and compassionate, and similar to Kuan Yin in Buddhism. And the energies of the Divine Mother, they come in mysterious ways. If you ever want to visit me in my office, I'll tell you some personal stories, because I've got just amazing stories of my own personal journey. But I read this. This was in Andrew Harvey's book, and it was what was said to have been spoken by an apparition of Mother Mary at Medjugorje. Is that how you say it? Medjugorje. It was an apparition of the Virgin Mary in August of 1981. She said this: "I am the Queen of Peace. Mary is the real woman who lived her life from her heart. She's the symbol and archetype of the heart itself, mother of divine love. She invites us to live from our hearts."
Amen.
You know, when I would go to Germany, I actually, for a while, went and saw Mother Mira, another Indian incarnation of a divine mother here on earth right now. And I would go around Germany to all these little rural villages, and there was these big shrines, and each one to the Mother Mary, and they all had all these candles lit, and they were the biggest shrine in the little church. So it's very touching to see that, to see them, that they were worshiping the Divine Mother in their own way there. My journey with the Divine Mother probably began back in Catholic school. I had a brief stint in Catholic school, and I related the most to the Mother Mary. And then I read Blessed Among Women, a beautiful book on Mother Mary, back in the 70s. And then in the 90s, when I lived at Bright Bush Hot Springs, I led meditation every morning for a year, and I would stare at this statue of Kuan Yin, and I just found myself praying. I want to embody that. I want to be that love. I want to be that compassion. I'm willing and wanting to merge in that energy and be that love, be that light in the world. And it worked. I had this experience in 1991 that changed everything, changed my life. And for a while, I felt gone into love, gone into stillness, gone into that. I still always feel it with me, but it was really powerful for about a year. And then after that, I wanted a teacher in the Divine Mother ways, and I found Mother Mira, and then I found Amma. And Amma, the hugging saint, was my primary teacher for about 20 years. Now, Amma, she really is all about teaching people how to embody the divine feminine. Let me read you what she says about love. She says, real love has nothing to do with lust or self-centeredness. In love, the other is not an instrument to fulfill your selfish desires. You are an instrument of the divine with the intention of doing good in the world. Love gives joyfully of itself. In real love, you do not feel worthless. On the contrary, you expand and become one with everything, all-encompassing, ever blissful. And Amma talks about two different types of languages that this world speaks. She says the world speaks the language of the intellect or the language of the heart. She says in the language of the intellect, it's dry, it's rational, it likes to argue and attack. Have you seen anyone speaking that language? The language of the intellect is aggressive. It's purely masculine, devoid of love or any sense of relatedness. It says, not only am I right and you are wrong, but I have to prove that. I have to prove that at all costs so that you will yield to me. We see too much of this. We see way too much of this in our world. There's a better way, there's another way. It's a way that our world needs so very much, and that is living from the heart. That is speaking the language of the heart, the language of love. And Amma describes the language of love like this. Those who speak the language of the heart, the language of love, which is related to the feminine principle, do not care about their ego. They have no interest in proving they're right or that anyone else is wrong. They are deeply concerned about their fellow beings and wish to help, support, and uplift others. In their presence, transformation simply happens. They are the givers of tangible hope and the light in this world. I love that. They're the givers of tangible hope and the light in this world. When such people speak, it is not to lecture, impress, or argue. It is true communion of hearts. I remember another story about my mom. I used to, come home with new clothes as a teenager and model them for my mom. And I remember one day her saying, you have some physical beauty, but that is going to fade. And you better focus on your inner beauty. You need to focus on how beautiful your heart is. You need to focus on how beautiful your spirit is and how your spirit is lit from within, because that beauty won't fade.
Amen.
I never forgot that. That was so, I have chills right now. That was so powerful for me. Wow, so powerful. So I knew pretty early on I wanted to be a giver of tangible hope and light to the world. And it's an endless process to learn to speak the language of the heart and to really live your life from the heart. We have to choose to keep returning to love. Things bother us, right? Guys go by on skateboards, right? And we have to choose to return to love, and it's really all about that. How fast can we make that choice? Okay, I want to get back to being about love. And yeah, sometimes it's tough love. You have to give a little lecture on how to pass in the proper way. Another thing Alma always says is if you take one step towards the divine or towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. She would say that all the time, and it's really imploring us to make efforts in our spiritual life, put energy into it. It's a relationship. And you know how it is if you don't put any energy or effort into a relationship, right? It kind of fades, right? We have to put energy. We have to do that already to the divine. Offer that complete love. Offer our hearts to the divine. Say, let me feel you. Let me open to you. Let me be still so I can receive you, right? So how do we love the Creator? How do we love the Creator? You tell me.
We love each other.
By loving each other, being still, being in prayer, being in communion, walking meditation in nature if you're not a sitter. But meditate, there's a reason for it. It's to receive. It's to learn to open and receive the divine highest energies. Listen inside. Turn off the gadgets, turn off the cable, turn it all off, and listen inside, right? And serve one another. Serve one another. Uplift one another. Ask how you can serve here at church. We need more help. So serving is a way that we purify. That's a way that we awaken to the divine. So in closing, may we commit ourselves to embodying more of these divine feminine energies. May we devote ourselves to learning and speaking the language of love. May we be a loving mother to the people of this world, to the people in our families, to the people in our lives, and may we love our Mother Earth and take very good care of her.
Do you still sing with your mother?
I do. I make sure there's a keyboard. I bought a keyboard to have at her house. Yeah, I absolutely do. We have a song, Fire and Rain. That's our theme song.
So beautiful.
Fire and rain.
It's a great song.
I want her to come here one day so that we can maybe sing for
That'd be
you.
great.
But thank you all. I just love you all, and I see the divine mother, the divine feminine energies in all of you. It's the love. It's the love. And the love is the greatest power. And the love is the answer.
Amen.
Always. I love you. God bless. God is blessed.